Reviewing the newest season, it's Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. The first thing I gotta say is the theme song is amazing. I had a few issues with the Dino Fury theme song. It was a little, boring. It has some fun beat drops, some fun sound effects in it, but ultimately all it really has going for it is like the Dino Fury. And I love that Cosmic Fury, references that so you still feel like it's connected. You know that it's the third season, but it also really elevated it by adding those verses. Morphin in outer space. Like that is what gets stuck in your head. And then you have the little Cosmic Fury there at the end is like a little treat after the part that gets stuck in your head. And now to compare what actually happened in the show to my theory video. I'm holding true to my theory. I firmly believe that Javi is going to be our first amputee Power Ranger. Javi did lose his arm, and I do feel very vindicated that I was right about that. We finally have, an amputee, a differently abled, a ranger wearing a prosthetic out there representing a group of people that do not get enough representation in superheroes. I have heard some scuttlebutt that people were complaining that Javi got over losing his arm just a little bit too fast. And I really can't get behind that complaint. I think the fact that they touched on those points was really great. Going through the full cycle, losing the arm, dealing with it, not having the prosthetic, learning the prosthetic, and then mastering the prosthetic, and at the end, playing with a band. At the end of the day, I don't think him going through an entire, serious, well-written trauma cycle would have been good for the show. If a child with a prosthetic is watching this, a character who is going through the trauma is not the representation they need. They need a superhero with a prosthetic, someone they can look up to who has triumphed, who has processed, who is living with a prosthetic and living his best life and functioning. That's what superheroes are. They're there for you to look up to. They're there to represent the best kind of person that you want to be. Power Rangers is still terrified of blood. Actually, at first, I was a bit concerned that he was going to bleed to death in the next couple minutes because no one was really doing anything about it. And I was like, where's the blood? Where's the blood? Apply pressure. And then when there was no blood, I was like, what? I need a little bit more of an in-universe explanation. At least in Star Wars, they're like, lightsabers cauterize the wound. And I'm like, fine, I can accept that. But with this, I was like, what exactly happened there? I absolutely loved, even though it didn't end up being what happened, at the end, Javi has the chosen one moment. I'm the perfect guy to put the staff back in because it's just going to destroy my robot arm and I'll get another one. But that the team came together and they were like, each of us will take a little bit of this. We're each going to hold on to the staff and we'll share the damage. Knowing that all of them know the weight of what that means and that they're willing to do it for Javi. But then, Zato comes back and he's the one that kind of swoops in Deus Ex Machina style and fixes the whole thing. But that moment where they were going to do that was still meaningful, even though it wasn't what they did. It's established. First Orange Ranger. Theories were correct. It is in fact Fern, Izzy's girlfriend. Yes, we did finally get our first truly official Orange Ranger, which is so exciting because orange is such an underrated color. Fern doesn't get her suit until way later in the season. We wouldn't have gotten all of that great development of her as a non-Ranger side character and then becoming a Ranger if she had done it earlier in the season. But I wanted to see her in the suit more. I was psyching myself out so hard because she kept wearing orange and purple, and we only had those two promotional pictures of her in the orange suit, and I started to think it was like a deep fake and that she was going to be a purple ranger and they had released those with a color correction filter over them because purple is behind her in the opening intro. Are they about to totally mess with my head? Purple Rangers are amazing. I still would have been excited for a third official Purple Ranger, but I was really excited that she was orange. The fact that Fern is a Solanosaurus Ranger was one of the most touching moments for me in all 30 seasons of Power Rangers. I love Solon. She is the mother of all of the Rangers. She is a sweetheart. She is so helpful. She is always there to listen. That woman is constantly putting her life on the line and getting zapped and having all her circuits fried to try to save everyone. To get that moment where a Power Ranger is her kind of dinosaur and it's her favorite color. It was such a beautiful moment, and that made that one of my new favorite Power Ranger suits. Like, I need that helmet. I know a lot of people thought it was weird that the morphers were also blasters. I didn't really have an opinion on that either way, but having seen the show, I like it if for no other reason than it gave Fern a reason to take the morpher. I was fully expecting she was going to have that moment of like, I got to do this without talking to anyone else. I have to become the ranger to go save Solon. And then afterwards, there's the fallout of like, was that the right thing to do? Anyway, I just thought that was a really clever way to get her to take the morpher and then ultimately become a ranger. Ollie is going to switch teams in Cosmic Fury and become the first Power Ranger to join the bad guys, not because of mind control or evil spells, but because of choice. I feel that the rumors were misleading on this one because everyone was like, Ollie's going to choose to be evil. No, he's just brainwashed. Don't get me wrong, he did an amazing job, like great evil ranger face. I enjoyed all of his, evil back and forth conversations with everyone and very like petty attempts to make people feel bad. Like when he first saw Amelia and he was like, red doesn't look good on you. And I was like, bro, you're just grasping at straws here. You're just trying so hard to be evil. I loved seeing Zed as a mentor. We've only ever seen Zed, interacting with like Rito, and Rito is looking up to Zed and Zed is just annoyed by him. So I found it to be a really complex and interesting relationship that Zed finally had someone who was like evil enough that he felt like he could take him under his wing. And I also thought it was really, really interesting the concept that Ollie had to unlearn teamwork, because villains don't use teamwork. They just try to knock everybody else out of the way and get ahead. I'm concerned about what this is gonna do to Amelia's mental health. And we scratched the surface of that a little bit, enough that we knew that she was hurting, but in a way, him becoming evil made her so much of a better leader, because we got to see when everyone else is struggling, Amelia was going around giving them counsel and she's giving them good advice. When she's dealing with her own personal struggle, she took her pain and turmoil and put it on the back burner to be there for everyone else. And that is why I honestly think she's one of my new favorite Red Rangers. Like, she really held everybody together when they were feeling hopeless. Billy's gonna be in it! Billy is in it! And, what are you gonna say? He's Billy. He built their morphers. He and Solon worked well together to make the base into a spaceship in, like, a couple days. Every interaction he has with everyone betters them as a person. And anything that you need help with, he helps you. And it's like 10 out of 10 every time. Thank you, David Yost, for bringing Billy to life again. And I really loved every time they morphed that they were like, we're not gonna spruce it up too much. We're not gonna change it. Just, everyone else does their whole big crazy thing. And he's still just doing the same thing. Cause that's what they did back in 1993. I felt like there was an awareness in the show that did have comedic value. I'm wondering if this suit's appearing in the show, does that mean that Heckle's gonna be in the show? Yes, Heckle was in it, which was great because I love him. I was so excited when Tarek said they had a man on the inside, and then the squid daughter was like, I have a new boyfriend. And I was like, is your boyfriend Heckle? Is it Heckle? Is he the man on the inside and he's your boyfriend? And it was. Could have been in like 1 or 2 more episodes and I would not have complained. Like, I was full in like Heckle is Team Cosmic Fury now and he's gonna be like their 6th Ranger. I also felt like Heckle got a little screwed over by the plot. When he first morphs, he's the most crucial part of their plan and he failed. Like, he totally screwed everything up and Tarek had to save his ass. And then when they're having that big fight where he and Tarek and Billy have teamed up, Tarek was owning, like he was serving. Meanwhile, Heckle's just like totally getting beat up by his ex. So I was maybe a little disappointed that he didn't get a moment where he like took out some henchmen, showed off a little, but I was still really happy he was in it. And now for the rest of my thoughts. Speaking of wanting Heckle to join the Cosmic Fury team as their 6th Ranger, I really was like fingers crossed, knew it wasn't going to happen, heart set on more new Rangers. Because I know that they had a ton of Zords, they come from a Sentai season with 10 Rangers, so there was space for them to have a Ranger for each Zord. I have wanted since like episode 2 of Dino Fury for Mrs. Akana to become a Yellow Ranger. That woman is the most like Ranger material I have ever seen in a side character. Anytime she is confronted with a situation, she's just like, okay, push up my sleeves. I'm a human. I'm going to fight the monsters. I'm going to do what's right. I ain't scared of shit. And I'm just like, Mrs. Akana, steal my heart. And she frequently wears yellow. I think it was episode 2 where they have a meeting in the base with Tarek and Pop Pop and Mrs. Akana and Solon. And I had this little freak out moment where I was like, every single one of these people could be a ranger, should be a ranger. Pop Pop. A Pop Pop Ranger. Are you imagining it right now? Is it making you feel like your head is going to explode because you just like want it so badly? I need Pop Pop Ranger. I need Pop Pop Ranger. Someone make it happen, please. Can we just take a second to appreciate drones and everything that they have done for film? I mean, to get an aerial shot, you used to have a helicopter and you could see the wind from the helicopter blowing things if you got too close. A lot of times you could see the shadow from the helicopter. I mean, that amazing opening shot in The Shining where they're driving up to the hotel, you can see the helicopter shadow in that shot. But with drones, you can do so much stuff. You can get way lower. It's way less impact, so you can barely tell that there's a camera there. And even in the fight scenes, the opening sequence in Cosmic Fury is like blow your mind, crazy, cool, good, like fanfare, everything you've ever wanted. It's like 8 different fights going on at the same time with multiple ranger teams and all kinds of explosions. And the drone is just like zipping around in there. Drones are really cool and they allow cinematographers to do really amazing stuff. I was actually surprised to see the full team of Morphin Masters who originally gave the Dino Fury Rangers their powers. Because in Dino Fury, we only see 3 of them, and one of them mentions that, yes, they used to help out the Rangers. They have been betrayed, they have been hunted, and there aren't very many of them left. So I assumed what he meant was our original team of 6 is now only 3. Getting to see Mick as a Red Ranger again was huge for me. I absolutely love Mick. I think that he is a really great mentor. I don't care what anyone says. Ninja Steel is one of my favorite seasons. I also love Kelson Henderson. And when Mick originally became the Red Ranger for one episode in Ninja Steel, it really feels like vindication for the fact that Boom was not an official ranger and that it was a dream sequence cosplay situation. And then to get to see him actually be a ranger and fight with other rangers and be a part of the team for like a full season was absolutely wonderful. I adore that they did that. I thought having them teleport away and then not be able to get back was a really clever plot device to make it so you could have the battle on Earth right there at the beginning and not have the audience stressing about like, well, why aren't they doing anything? So having them all stuck together somewhere, I think was just a really good idea for getting the story to fit together well and getting it to make sense without a bunch of like what ifs or plot holes. Say what you want about the length or relevance of their appearances, but as a fan, I really respect the fact that they worked all of the Dino Fury side characters into the plot. Even Izzy and Javi's cousin. Speaking of side characters, I adored Mucus and Slither's returning roles. Wouldn't have changed a thing. Delighted they were in it. Every scene they were in was fantastic. I know I already mentioned it once, but I just gotta say again, Amelia was an amazing Red Ranger. She was there for everybody, but she was also like commanding and assertive. She made the hard decisions, all while she was dealing with her own stuff. And she had so much hope, as a Red Ranger should. Her relationship with Mrs. Akana in the beginning of the season really was what started to sell it for me. That like Mrs. Akana was losing hope and Amelia was like, no, we can't do that. We're not gonna do that. We don't have time for that. You just have to know that it's gonna work and keep trying. And to me, that was like perfect Red Ranger. It's Cosmic Fury theory time. Does Cosmic Fury take place before Once and Always? So at the end of Cosmic Fury, when Ion reveals that he met someone inside the Morphin Grid who he saw as Zato but said they weren't Zato and told the phrase to him, may the power protect you, Billy thinks, okay, well, what if this is Zordon? His energy is still out there somewhere. Maybe there's a way to get him back. And that, to me, is the moment that sets up Once and Always. where Billy is trying to find Zordon's energy out in the universe and bring him back. Given that this really feels like it's setting up Once and Always, and given the amount of emotional development that Billy underwent to realize he didn't need to do that, this just really makes me think that those things were released in opposite order, because there's nothing to say that they wouldn't make sense that way. And this also fixes something that really bugged me, that Lord Zed comes back at the end of Dino Fury, and then Rita is in Once and Always, and at no point do those two people existing in the world at the same time find each other. But if those things were switched, then by the time that Rita is resurrected, Lord Zed is already trapped on that planet in a repeating hallucination and would have no idea to come find her, and I wouldn't think that anyone knows he's there. We are really getting into more mature content in Power Rangers because Zato is the second Ranger to have ever died permanently. Trini died in Once and Always, and she will not be coming back. Zato died in the end of Cosmic Fury, and I can almost guarantee you he won't be coming back. That makes them the only two Power Rangers to have ever died during a season and not been resurrected a few episodes later. Well, that's all I gotta say for now. I absolutely loved it. I hope to be making more content about it. Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section. Just be respectful. And to sign off, you know I gotta say, cool, cool, coolio.